Hi you guys, so today we are getting real up close and personal because my eyebrows are a mess and it has been a while since I have done a brow routine video. So today I'm not just doing like what I put on my brows, I'm also showing you how I groom my brows. It has been probably about a month since I have touched them, so I've got like brow hair growing down to here. So a little bit about my eyebrows. They are very sparse, they are very thin, they are naturally blonde to very, very light brown. So they are very much not visible. Thankfully, they have filled in a little bit more recently over the past few months, I think because of some extra vitamins I've been taking, but they need a lot of work to look good with a full face of makeup. I know a lot of people suggest, oh, just let them grow out, don't touch them, etc. Well, I have slightly hooded lids and I get hair like all the way down here, and that's gotta go. That can't stay. So I do groom my brows quite a bit. So I'll be showing you all the tools I use, everything I use. I keep it really, really simple. I don't wax because my skin doesn't react well to waxing my brows anymore. And I do, unfortunately, have a little angry spot right there. So I'm gonna have to be careful. Why I have a spot right there? I don't know. It's just mad. I think we're gonna name him Ted. Ted the Spot. He's just gonna hang out there and join us today. All right, let me zoom you guys in. All right, we are really, really close. So first thing, let me put on a headband real quick. There we go. Get my hair out of the way. All right, so the first thing I always like to do is have a spoolie brush. This is actually the e.l.f. 203 brush, and it has a nice spoolie at the end, and then it has a very nice pointed brush. I love this brush for doing my eyebrows because it's super, super tiny and detailed. But first, I always start by taking the spoolie and just brushing through and kind of seeing what we've got going on here. If I keep looking down, it's just because my mirror is like down here and I can't see what I'm doing unless I look at the mirror. My brow hairs are a little bit long right now. I've got a ton of hair down here. So how I kind of handle my brow hair is like, I like a very, very clean slate because I find that eyeshadows blend better, your makeup looks better in general. So I kind of do a two-step thing. First, I go in with my tweezers and I clean up all the dark hairs, all the visible ones. I love the Tweezerman ones. These are amazing. These are super, super sharp. These are fine tipped. I love these. I highly recommend them. They are a little bit more expensive. They're so much better than standard drugstore tweezers. They really, really are. So I'm just going to go in and pluck everything that is below what my basic brow outline is. You can see I have a fairly defined brow outline here, and then I get all these little random hairs just scattered through there. And a tip for making this less painful is I do slightly pull on the skin while doing this. It makes it less painful and slightly less painful. And it makes the hairs kind of pop up a bit more so you're less likely to grab skin. I have a couple hairs that are up in my brows that I do tend to pluck just because they tend to either grow at a weird angle or grow funny, and it makes it more difficult to have a clean finished brow line. So I'll get that part, and then I will come in here, and thankfully I don't have too much of a monobrow. I only have a couple little hairs I pluck here. All right, so that's pretty much it for the plucking. I go pretty light on it, and I only get the hairs that are visible. My big problem is I have a ton of light blonde hair that's here and here and here. that likes to hide and you really can't see it. Like right now, my brow does look very groomed. However, it makes my eyeshadow not blend as well and not look as clear. So we will get to that as soon as I'm done plucking this eyebrow. All right, now that I have the majority of the darker colored hairs plucked through, I'm just gonna plucked. I'm going to go ahead and brush through my brows again. And now I'm going to trim them. I just have this little pair of just little medical trimmy scissors that I use for this. And what I do is I start by brushing my brows up. And I just take a little bit off. Not a lot, just a little bit. Most of it comes off of the front. And then I'll brush through that again, and then I will take them down. I know it looks like I'm taking off a ton of brow hair. I'm really not. My brows are really weird, so my routine may not work for everyone, but if you have sparse brows, but the hair is kind of crazy, then this may be helpful. So they do get fairly thin, but I do bulk them out with product. So they look a lot nicer once I put product on them, because if I put product on them when they're just wild hair everywhere, the product doesn't lay as nicely, if that makes sense. So don't worry, I don't end up with like 90s comma brows. That does not happen. Believe it or not, I actually live in an area where women still do their eyebrows like that, and it doesn't look good on anyone. I mean, if you like your brows like that, then go for it, but I don't think that's an attractive look. I mean, I could be wrong. There could be someone out there who looks fantastic with those, though. All right, I brush everything out once more, make sure there's no stray little hairs anywhere. And then my secret weapon is this little guy. This is an eyebrow razor. You've probably seen these all over in the shaving your face videos. I actually used to do that, but I found that I would get tons of little tiny breakouts in texture every single time I did it, no matter what I did, what method I used, how much I exfoliated. So I pretty much stopped. Occasionally I'll go through and shave my face, but it's pretty rare now. But what I like this for is cleaning up all those little baby hairs just around my brows. So I will usually go in between my brows, and I'll shave down and up. I'll go both ways. And then I will go above my brow very carefully. You want to be careful during this part, because if you sneeze, you're gonna lose your eyebrow. Now, I do my eyebrows slightly thinner than what is considered trendy right now, or trendy recently at least. But that's just because that's what looks best on my face shape. I have a more delicate bone structure, and when I do thicker brows, I've found that I look a little Groucho Marx. It looks a little crazy, like Bert and Ernie. I mean, full on. It does not work for my face, unfortunately. I think there are some women who it absolutely just looks beautiful on, but not on me. So I'll also come just out here, because this is, I tend to blend a lot of eyeshadow out here, and I will gently lift and then come in this way. And I get as close to my eyebrow as I can without shaving off any of the hair that I want to keep. And if you're really nervous about that, you can put your finger over your brow as well. And I just come in and very carefully and gently shave all that hair. You are using a razor around your eyes. Be careful. Use a razor specifically for this purpose. These are the Ardell eyebrow razors. I really like these ones. I've used them for years. I've tried other brands that I haven't liked as much. And I just take a washcloth and wipe away the excess hairs. And then I have a very nice, neat, groomed brow. And a very clean, soft canvas for all of my eyeshadows. And then I just do the exact same thing over on this side. Trying to be extra careful because I have that little angry spot. Alright, and this side is done too. They are very, very smooth. They are a bit red and angry. If your brow hairs are stiffer than mine, I would recommend maybe using like a little bit of facial oil underneath your brows before you begin shaving them. But my hair is really, really soft. Like it has no, like it's the hair on my head, basically. It has no stiffness to it. I can go in and do that dry. So I have two very clean, smooth canvases ready for eyeshadow and all of that fun stuff. I go in and wipe away all the excess hair. I, of course, would recommend shaving or plucking your eyebrows the day before an event, not the day of an event. That way, the redness does have some time to calm down. I will be right back in just a second, and I'm going to show you how I actually do my eyebrows on a daily basis. All right, so I am back. Let's get working on actually doing my eyebrows. Now, I do tend to switch up what I do quite a bit just because I always am trying new products, trying new techniques, things like that. But my tried and true is, of course, the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow. I've gone through a ton of these. I love these to death. They are my absolute #1 recommended product for people with thinner, sparser, lighter brows. When you don't just have to fill in, but you have to kind of build a brow from scratch, then I would highly recommend these. So I'm using the shade Taupe. This is what it looks like. And I'm using the same brush I did before, the e.l.f. brush. You can use any brush, really. I just recommend something very small, angled, and very fine. And I'm also using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Clear Brow Gel. I love this brow gel. It's basically like shellac for your brows. You put this stuff on, they're not going anywhere. It's amazing. So what I start by doing, of course, is brushing through my brows. Not that there's much to brush through, but you know. And then I have found that if you want to get a really heavy look to your brow, you go in and kind of like scrape the product and really build it up on your brush. For a more natural look, what I like doing is just taking my brush and pouncing it into the product. I found that this gives me less product on my brush, which gives me more control and means that I'm not going to go in way too heavy. So I always start on the underside of my brows and just trace along that bottom shape. I don't have a super sharp arch to mine. I already have a really bad case of RBF on a daily basis, and I find that a sharper arch actually makes that worse. So I tend to keep my eyebrows softer. And then once I get that bottom arch in, I start going in and just filling in the tail because that's where I'm sparsest. And I work my way up to the front. You can see how much thicker my brows actually look once I go in and start filling them in. They just look super thin because the hair is very, very light. And then I will take kind of what's left on my brush and just kind of feather into that front a little bit. And if the front looks a little bit heavy, I'll just take the spoolie and brush it out a bit while it's still pliable, because this does dry down fairly quickly. And I will go in, touch up any areas that need it. And there we go. Do you see how fast that went? Typically, if I haven't plucked or shaved my brows in quite a while, like yesterday when I did my brows, it probably took me 15 minutes to do both my brows because you kind of have to fight around the hairs that are already there, which is why a lot of people with blonde eyebrows tend to just shave them off and draw on new ones from scratch. So let's do this other one. Ooh, see how I got a little bit too much product there? That went pretty heavy. So what I'll do is just go in and kind of grab that product and fluff it out as much as possible while it's still, I don't want to say wet because this isn't a wet product, but while it's still movable. Now you can see there's a bit of a shade difference, and that does happen with the dip brow depending on how much product you get in. So you can just kind of go in with the spoolie, pull a little bit of that product out, and it will even everything up. This right here, this little trouble spot in my brow is so annoying. Just fill in the way you're supposed to. And sometimes I will also take the spoolie and just go along the tops of my brows and soften that product up just a little bit more. I like the underside of my brow being as crisp as possible, but if the top is too sharp, it can look a little bit harsh. So what I do is I let the pomade sit for a minute on my brows before I go in with a brow gel, because I've realized if I go in right away with brow gel, what it will do is take some more of the color out, and then sometimes they can look a little bit patchy. So I just give it a few minutes. Usually I will go and either start my foundation or, you know, something like that. All right, now that they've sat for a little bit, I'm going in with my brow gel. I just start at the front, and I very lightly feather this in because, again, if you push too hard, you're going to lift that product out, which if you're filling in thin brows, you do not want that to happen, because then you're going to have to go back in with the product, fix it, and it becomes a whole process. And it's like, someone asks, why are you 3 hours late? And it's like, well, because I needed eyebrows on before I left the house. All right, guys, and there are my eyebrows all finished. Everyone likes their eyebrows different. They really do. So this routine may not be for you. And if it isn't, then I'm sorry, but if you do have issues with sparse brows or light brow hair and this was helpful for you, I'm so happy that I could help. So that was my everyday brow routine with no other makeup on, because I am going to be filming a Get Ready With Me next, where I'm basically doing everything except my brows, because that's the kind of day it is and I have to go out later. So I hope that you guys did find this video helpful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't yet, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I upload every Wednesday and Friday. And you guys can also keep up with me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat. All the links for those are down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you again very, very soon. Bye.